Hello Internet, I'm Dan.
And I'm Chaz. This is Wine is Serious Business, episode 272. Got it right this time. I'm here with our friend Beau. Beau Carafel, maker of these fine wines from Random Wine Company.
Yep.
But we haven't done an interview in a long time. And
Long time.
Been friends with Beau for also a long time. Friend of the show, right?
Yeah.
So
Long time watcher.
Yeah.
Enjoyer of your show.
And let's sort of how we met. Like we were both
Yeah.
old wine bloggers.
Yeah.
Met at the Wine Bloggers Conference years ago. And
One
now,
of the earliest fans.
5
of the
years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, almost over 5 years ago.
we did an interview back then, too.
Oh, yes,
so.
we did in
Yeah.
Walla Walla, Washington.
Yep.
Some great Oregon wines, though, on that show.
Good times. We got a couple Washington grapes in the bottle in front of us.
We do.
Today.
So tell us about what you're doing now, and tell us about your company.
Well, after moving here, after I met these two guys,
Yeah.
he's pouring some wine, so I worked some harvests and kind of decided that I'd like to learn more about the production of wine instead of just drinking it and writing about it. And from there, it became creating a label and creating a winemaking philosophy and creating just a brand, I guess you'd call it. And
Yeah, it's kind of
that's
hard.
what I've been doing. Yeah, so 2012, we had those on the show last year,
Yep.
and that was the first vintage. So now we're tasting 2013s. So
Awesome.
the next vintage, a whole bunch of different stuff, and I'm continuing to experiment with new grapes. For me, new grapes and new wines, and just having a really great time.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, because they're pretty much random, right? Like they are
Oh, yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
We've got all kinds of grapes here. We got Gamay,
Yeah.
which I don't drink very much anymore. Some Cabernet Franc, Syrah, Viognier. So I mean, like really the mashup
Well,
of all kinds of stuff.
So I don't own any vineyards, and that's why it's random. I buy grapes from growers that I know and respect and trust, and referred to by kind of this really awesome winemaking community that we have in Oregon. And so I'm able to work with things that are maybe atypical. And I don't make any Pinot, for example, but because I drink my friends' Pinot Noirs because they're awesome.
Yeah.
And we're in the heart of the best Pinot region in the country, so
I completely agree. Yeah.
so I'll drink theirs and I'll make other stuff that's fun and maybe a little different and hopefully very tasty as well. So
Nice.
Yeah, and I think you're the first one's a good example. You're in the Gamay game,
yeah.
which I also think
Yeah.
is really smoking in the Willamette Valley.
It's
There isn't a lot of it made, but one of my friends called me out on this the other day. Was like, "Have you ever had a bad one?" And I was like, "Wow, I've had some that I like more than others, but I haven't had one that I wasn't enjoying yet." And you definitely pushed the envelope with this fruit, right? This
was supposed to be red.
Yeah,
It's not red.
but it came in too light for red.
Yes, yeah, I did.
You made lemonade out of lemons, so to speak.
I did with alcohol in it.
Yeah,
Because it's Random Wine Company, not Random Juice Company. We got the fruit a bit less ripe than we thought, and so had to do something with it. I was very lucky to work, with up at the Kramer Vineyards where I make my wines and have Kim there helping me, and she calmed my panic in a lot of ways,
I bet,
and
yeah.
she kind of walked me through what was going to happen and what the options were, and we decided that the rosé would be a fun option to do instead of just dumping the grapes or bulking it off into something, or even just trying to make a red wine out of basically underripe, not unripe, but underripe. There's a distinction, but she helped me with that, and she gets a lot of credit for the fact this turned out into something pretty damn tasty. So.
And this has been on the market for not quite a year, or for a year?
Yeah, it's been, I suspect, about a year now.
But I had some right after
yeah.
release, and I really enjoyed it. I've seen other write-ups on the internet that really liked it, but I haven't had it for a few months at least, so I'm excited to see where it's at now.
It's straight up 11.5% alcohol. It's all stainless. It's just made to be drunk and enjoyed, and pop a bottle and don't care if you're opening something too expensive or anything. Just enjoy the wine. So, yeah.
There's definitely more body to it on the nose now than there was on release. A little sense of richness that's kind of reminding me of maybe like a little bit of cake or a little caramel or something like that.
Well, this is completely dry, so there's no residual sugar, which a lot of people will add residual sugar, and it's not a bad thing. They'll just add it for mouthfeel and aromatic components, but I wanted to go completely dry with this wine.
And how do you feel about that? You give or take with a little bit of sugar, or you think that's dishonest?
I don't mind. Contextually, I actually don't mind. I think some people that are purists maybe will...
They're definitely haters, yeah.
They will hate it, but I think if residual sugar is done right, it's the same as dosage in champagne, which we all drink a lot of champagne.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit can really help something out, but it's all about the context of the application. Mm-hmm. And without getting too esoteric, I think that's, we make sweeter rosés in the valley and we make drier rosés in the valley, and so...
Yeah, find what you love, right?
Exactly. Drink a lot and find what you love. So...
It's part of the fun of learning about wine is drinking it.
Yes, it is.
So.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah. So the nose to me like sort of smells just underripe Oregon raspberries and then like some grapefruit.
Yeah.
Sort of like grapefruit juice.
That's a good call, the
Not-
grapefruit.
Not the ruby red kind, but like a fresh squeezed grapefruit juice. It's
Yeah.
you know like yeah. So smells pretty killer. I like it.
You know, like a summer strawberries, the little tiny ones that grow. And for
Yeah.
me, just before they get completely ripe and super bright red, they're like pale red, and I think they're really good because they got that snap of acid to them.
Yep.
So I like
I agree with that,
those,
yeah.
and
I like
it has
that actually way better than
kind
raspberries.
of for me that, and it's. I think the acid's there, and this is one of those wines. Rosé, I think, we talked about residual sugar. Rosé has to have acidity to it. I mean, if you don't have acid in your rosé, don't make rosé, because that's part of what makes rosé so drinkable in hot weather, and it's pretty hot right now, and so.
Yeah, the grapefruit that you mentioned on the nose is coming through really strongly on the palate. A lot more like dark red grapefruit flavors than I had experienced before. I'm getting some of that richness from the nose on there too. Little like hints of chocolate or something. Dark red grape. Maybe there's a little bit of that from the skin's coming through.
A bit of lees contact here too. So we
there
did
we
have
go.
a little bit of the lees contact, and that will richen out the body and richen out the mouthfeel a little bit on the wine. So.
And was that for that intent?
Yes.
Was that intention?
After we decided to make it as a rosé, and we looked at the options, we did want to have some lees contact to kind of supplement the fact that it did come in so underripe and such a kind of a crazy thing. So, and then I did take 50 cases of this off of the lees, and it's going to be Method Traditionnel Gamay Rosé.
Fun,
killer.
fun.
So hopefully next year that'll be released. It's going through its secondary fermentation right now. Still designing a label and figuring all that out. But as far as I know, no one's ever done that in Oregon, ever.
But it was originally on the lees the same amount of time as this was?
It was, yeah, and bottling is when we shuffled it off.
Sure. So I'm really excited about that actually, because that little bit of richness that I'm tasting now, I feel like would add to the complexity of a sparkling wine.
I think so too, yeah. And I'm right now the big debate that Kim and I are having, and she makes wonderful sparkling wines, so she's really helping me with this one.
Yes.
Is to look at the dosage again. And Kobe talked about that before. And do we want to go 0 and just a bone dry, or maybe just add a tiny bit just to kind of help that fruit come out, to kind of help it unfold a little bit on the palate.
Right.
So I'm not worried about the aromatics, especially with bubbles, but I think on the palate, mouthfeel is, as you guys know, obviously so important in sparkling wine.
Totally.
So.
Totally. Well, I'm excited to try it. And I'll say another, I guess, kind of to its detriment when it's young and fresh. You also get a little bit of that like pent up CO2 where the fruit just tastes younger, a little sharper. Like that's definitely gone, traded off for the richness. And I'm excited about the idea of more bubbles in it.
I'm super excited. Right now, for me, it's definitely segueing towards balsamic on the palate, like in terms of a savory quality, which I like. And almost
I totally see that.
A little bit of a wet, rocky thing. Although it's interesting, the vineyard wasn't necessarily a mineral dense vineyard. It's in Amity Hills, so it's not a whole lot of minerality there, but the age, I think, is really showing something kind of cool in this wine.
Yeah.
So you have the acid to preserve it, and then the aging is helping round off some of the fruit into something else. So.
I think some rosés don't, struggle with a bit of bottle age.
I think
this
you're
is
exactly
actually
right.
doing quite well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, one of the things, and just to give a shout out to friends of ours, like I had a Brooks rosé recently that was I think at 11, and it was just singing. It was just so good. And it was 11 or 12, but it was. I had found it in the back of the cellar, and I was really regretful. I'm like, oh shoot, I don't know what's gonna happen. Pulled the cork, was like, this is fantastic. It had acid and structure, and it had turned the corner from exuberantly fruity as its primary to kind of something a little more savory, a little more dimensionality was added to it. So
Cool.
Very cool.
yeah, that kind of showed me that what rosé can do. So
If you were going to make a rosé next year, you could have your pick of any grapes in the valley or the gorge to use. What fruit would you use for your rosé?
oh man,
So you get 2 tons free fruit, any vineyard, any grape, whatever you want.
that's a really great question. I think I would honestly say Gamay again.
Nice.
I think if someone was crazy enough to sell me Gamay for this year, 2015, I'd pick it next week and probably make sorry, that's a weather joke. I'd probably pick it pretty early and try to do a rosé again with it. So
Wow.
yeah,
Cool.
I just think it's such a great grape for that.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see some great, lots more great Gamay and probably some great Gamay rosés in the future. Speaking of Gamay, there's a little bit of that wrapped up in this wine too. This is Plan B for the challenging fruit. Yeah.
This is another 2013. This one I was able to get Gamay from Yakima. My friend Tom Monroe from Division. He gets some of this Gamay, and he was able to get me about 1,000 pounds. And that isn't really enough to do a viable ferment. It's really risky. And then I was very lucky. John Jennison from Thistle Vineyards is extremely generous with his organically farmed Pinot Noir. Okay. So this is Gamay Noir and Pinot Noir. 50-50, almost exactly.
Oh, so Dundee Hills.
Pinot Noir,
cool.
organically farmed Dundee Hills Pinot Noir. The pedigree's great. The grapes are fantastic. John's a super good guy, and he kind of stepped up to the plate on this and really helped me out on making this wine. And so I'm very much indebted to him, and indebted to Tom for finding this Gamay for me as well, and being able to give me 1,000 pounds of it to actually screw around with and try to learn more about blending and co-fermenting versus blending finished wines. So.
Nice. Cool.
Definitely a lot more structure evident on the nose here.
Mm-hmm. Is there a whole cluster in this one?
Yeah, so the Gamay, 50% of the Gamay was destemmed, 50% whole cluster. That was on the bottom of the fermenter. And then I ended up layering the Pinot Noir on the top. And then we went back to very traditional, punch downs and pump overs on the wine. More of the gentle. 13 was such a wacky year that we had here with the rain and everything. Yeah. It was more about
everything else.
Yeah, and just trying to just let the fruit do its thing, and then letting nature do what it wants to do, but within reason. And I only made 2 barrels. I mean, it was a minuscule amount of this wine, but I think that it was super fun, and it was really fun as a co-fermentation experiment, and I learned a lot about winemaking from this wine. So. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a lot more darker aromatics. I'm getting like kind of some asphalt, some licorice, dark cherries.
The red licorice and black licorice thing is sort of sticking out like an anise sort of seed sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a good call. I think the Gamay is still showing through in this wine on the nose a lot. These were opened maybe 4 or 5 hours ago. Mm-hmm. So
okay.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a soil note.
A little earthy. Yeah.
A little bit of stemminess coming through.
Yeah.
Just a touch,
and that it feels right, I guess, as a winemaker. It feels about right to have that little touch.
And not like green stemmy either.
No,
and this was actually contrasting with the rosé. This was perfectly right. The numbers were beautiful. The fruit tasted amazing. It had great acid balance, great structure in the fruit. So, yeah, I mean, the stems were beautifully lignified, and so didn't have much to worry about with that.
Yeah. Well, it smells pretty good, honestly. I like the licoricey, sort of earthy aromas. So
I like the texture on the palate too. It's definitely got like a gentle feeling as it rolls across. Reminiscent to me definitely more of what I expect from Pinot Noir. Yeah. A little bit of the structure coming in late reminds me more of the Gamay. A little bit of that spice.
Yeah.
A little bit of nutmeg. Yeah, a little bit of just a little bit of leather or something.
Yeah.
In the corners of the mouth. Yeah.
Oh, totally.
I would agree with that.
I mean, it's 2 neutral French barrels on the wine. I really went for, again, the hands off. Just to see what would happen in this wine in a way. Definitely gave me some sleepless nights during fermentation, but it ended up being really fun. I think I'm on board with what you're saying in terms of the Pinot. I think is showing on the palate for me, and it's almost got some of that Dundee Hills Pinot-ness to it, which we love because it's so good. So
it's got a really the fruit flavors are very concentrated, and they're very much in the center, very focused early on, which is really nice. It's all just cherries and bright raspberries to me.
It's got good acid, which is the big thing for me. It's the acidity carries
the acid,
that.
Extends long into the finish, but there's a lot of structure in the back end of it.
There really is, yeah.
A lot of tannins sort of gripping the cheeks and stuff.
That's the Gamay again, Cru Beaujolais. Not that this is anything like that, but in terms of the way they make Gamay there, they can get extraction of tannins, and that's what we kind of did too.
Yeah. We
got some structural bounds created by the tannins in that Gamay Noir.
And while see there's portions of Pinot and portions of Gamay on. Yeah,
It was nice. I think as a first-time winemaker, I got really lucky that it wasn't a clashing kind of thing, but they complement each other, and
absolutely.
I was really lucky to get that out of this, and like I said, it taught me a whole lot about blending grapes and ferments and all that. So,
which we'll get to talk about a little bit more later too. That'll be fun. But nice wine, and also like what's like just retail price on this too?
I think the rosé is 15 or so. I think this is 17-ish.
Right, so sub 20, right? Unusual blend. You get a good price on that.
Yeah.
You see around.
There's not a lot left, so I guess if you really like it, email me or something. But
of course,
it's I tried to make the first two wines very much. I'm a new winemaker, so I'd like to get my name out there and accessible for people who want to experiment a little bit, maybe, and try something new and cool. So.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is like, it's really hard to find good Pinot Noir under 20. But this is sort of in that wheelhouse. Like, this is a solid red wine under $20, but like it provides good Pinot-like characteristics, but it has something else to bring to the table, which is really kind of nice.
Yeah, and a little bit of a story behind it. So that's fun too.
Well, from your guys' palate, that's high praise. I appreciate that.
What are we drinking now?
Yeah.
This is Cab Franc, Eastern Oregon Cab Franc. It's from Rattlesnake Road Vineyard. That's east of the Dalles.
Okay.
Relatively young vineyard. My friend Byron Dooley from Seven of Hearts was able to get me some fruit from here, and I'd never made Cab Franc before. I love Cab Franc. I love Loire Cab Franc.
You don't love Cab Franc?
I'm not a lover of Cab Franc.
He's not a Cab Franc fan, but I
wasn't making that face about this wine. I know it is.
That's
Thank you,
okay.
by the way.
That wasn't that.
I'm saying the pre-tasting,
More
you
just
seem to like
reaction.
it.
Yeah.
But I love what Cab Franc can do. I think it can be a very versatile grape. You can get examples from Washington that are big and oaky and rich and dense. You can get examples from the Loire Valley, which are taut and lean and minerally and taste like cement and crushed grapes, and they're amazing. So Cab Franc really can show the winemaker's ego in a way, and so that was what brought me to making Cab Franc in 2015. So I was able to get some just stunningly beautiful fruit. It tasted amazing. It smelled great, and I was able to get one used puncheon. It's 1.5 times ish the size of a regular barrel, and I was able to do some whole cluster on this, and I was able to get it finished at like 12.9 alcohol.
Nice.
Versus some of the Washington stuff that's like 14.8 on the label. This is actually less than 12.9 on the label. And whole cluster again, yes, whole cluster, and make something that I'm personally just for my own palate. I'm really happy to be able to drink and to share with people.
I love the nose on this. I drank a bottle of this within the last 4 or 5 months, and I'm getting some great earthy, kind of like stony black earthy notes.
Yeah, this is like asphalt, like bordering on like some asphalt, definitely like granite or like gravel road.
Now the nose, I think. Well, I'm biased. You already know that, but the nose is fantastic on this one. I think so expressive of that Cab Franc style that I'm going for.
Nice.
And that's why that's the caveat here. If you like leaner Cab Francs,
right?
This is no new oak, no American oak, picked really low ripeness but full of flavor. So.
But having had the Loire Cab Francs, like those are lean. Those are lean to the point of like austerity.
That's why they're so good.
They're not. Whereas this has still got really nice fruit characteristic, like as far as New World wines are concerned, but without any of the oak or any of the vanilla. That's like a lot of times I think is destroying the wines, the Cab Francs that I've had in America.
How do you feel about the green pepper?
So
bring it on.
Okay.
Pyrazines.
This is pretty light though.
I'm not giving it.
This like it's a touch. It's small.
You're probably really sensitive to it, which is that's good. For me, during fermentation, I got a little bit out of the open top fermenter that I used, but I don't get much at all on this. I definitely get, though, it is a savory element. Again, kind of thematically, we've gone through some savory wines, and there is on this wine as well. And I think, a funny story I tell is that Byron picked on the same day from the same block as me. He picked for Rosé of Cab Franc, and I said, wow, that looks great and tastes great. I want red wine out of this.
That's a good story.
And so,
that's cool.
And this is, to be fair, Byron's one of my favorite winemakers in the entire valley.
Yeah,
and
really
so he makes some really brilliant stuff. So it was just, but it illustrates the philosophical difference. But we also have tasted each other's wines, and we've talked about this, and kind of, he was a little like skeptical maybe about it, and I was like, no, I'm going to do it because I'm random, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing still, so yeah. But I think the nose on this is just incredible.
And I love the cherry fruit. Yeah, it's really engaging.
Yeah, I think black cherries come out, but not the
I
jam
love
preservative
the
side of it. It's just like, oh yeah, well.
Minerality and pepper
pepper,
strong,
that's good,
strong, strong minerality in the
like
nose.
an earthy black pepper almost, not the tart, sour white pepper thing, but
White pepper's gross.
you're a hater.
Yeah,
Man,
I
this
am.
is
I hate on white pepper all day long. Yeah.
This is just solid fruit. Really easy
Totally.
to drink.
Yeah.
The
A little
quality
bit
of
of
the
shocky tannins in the but
Nice. Yes.
Well, again,
Yes.
25%
Great
whole
acid.
cluster again, so you get that whole cluster adds a dimensionality to the wine that is supplements the fruit part of the wine. I mean, grapes are fruit, so it should taste like fruit. But yeah, I mean, I think this is drinking beautifully. I mean,
Great
it's got tart
cherries,
acid
yeah.
all the way through, and the vineyard is crazy cool. It's got this great breeze blowing in
Yeah.
to cool it off. So it's out in the gorge, and everyone thinks it's hot and hot and hot. Yes, but you just brilliant amount of breeze just cooling things off and just kind of helping to help preserve that acidity in the
Right.
grapes. I mean,
And that story's
I
been
didn't
told
do
a
much
lot,
to
right?
this
Yeah.
at all. I basically received the fruit and
Barrel? No barrel?
one puncheon, neutral puncheon.
Neutral. Okay.
Neutral puncheon. So I ferment. I always use open top fermenters. I don't want any oak during the fermentation.
Sure.
And after that, put it into the puncheon and just kind of let it sit. 11 months. That's it.
Yeah. The nice roundness on the palate, I think, coming from some of that barrel aging, I really like that.
Yeah.
And just the depth of
But
flavor.
that's
on
what
the
barrels
fruit's
should
pretty good.
do.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, for me, barrels shouldn't influence the wine. What they should do is supplement the wine. Round off some of maybe the rougher edges of the wine to create something that's still the essence of what you picked, instead of using it to, I want to add a bunch of vanilla, or I mean, just for my palate, like what I like to drink is stuff that isn't like that. And so, I mean, some winemakers like to use a bunch of new oak, and that's great, cool. But I think if you want to show the fruit and the vineyard and the vintage, which kind of how I was taught to make wine are the important parts, don't use a ton of oak and use the minimal amount you can to still preserve it and round it off. Create a more structured and more linear perception on the palate, more width on the palate. So.
And I feel like the finish kind of fades away fairly quickly here. The acidity kind of dries things out, but the real complexity of the fruit is most evident on the mid palate. Kind of an upside to that is that it kind of keeps you going for another glass a little more quickly.
Which means you buy more bottles, which helps me out.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. That's the best taste
Yeah.
I know.
Business question for you. So I know you do
Yeah.
some direct consumer sales.
Yes.
You got a mailing list. If you're watching the show,
Small mailing
you
list.
should sign up for his mailing list. He puts good prices up. You get
Try to,
good
yeah.
deals and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. He also, you get to sell your wine through your distributor, or you self-distribute?
I self-distribute everything.
Self-distribute.
In like our little market here. There's some people that are interested in New York and Colorado
But
and
I'm-
California, but I don't make
Right.
you know.
I'm curious, but like percentage-wise, do you think half of your stuff goes out to retail channel?
No, I would say probably 75% is direct to consumer.
Wow.
the mailing
Boy,
list.
that's a model that a lot of people would envy, actually.
They would, but
Yeah.
remember, these are 2-barrel 50 case.
Sure, but that's a good precedent.
Which is
yeah.
great. To be fair, I would love to grow the mailing list by 100% or 200%.
Sure.
But yeah, I've gotten great support, and it's kind of like, you know, all the Twitter and the Facebook and everything that happens
Social's a
over
big
the
deal.
years. It is a testament to social media, and people have known me from around the country.
Shout out to some winemakers you've connected with that you would only know through social media.
Oh,
That
have
you
done
drunk
it-
their wine, they drunk your wine.
Through social media only?
Yeah.
Chris Mathewson.
There we go.
For sure. I mean,
We've done his
Bellwether,
wines on the show,
holy
yeah.
crap.
Yeah.
Great wines coming out of there. I mean, the
Yeah.
guy's doing amazing stuff. But I mean, you know, let's take it back. Hardy Wallace.
Yep, totally.
I mean,
He's another guy, yeah.
in terms of inspirations to me, getting me to get my ass out of San Diego to here to learn to make wine, Hardy Wallace.
Oh, that was he was part of the push to make
He was
that
just a
happen?
person that inspired me.
Oh,
Watching his
that's
energy,
great.
watching his stunningly good wines for what I
Yeah.
drink. William
Dirty and
Allen-
Rowdy, if you don't know.
Dirty and
Yeah,
Rowdy.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, get on the mailing list. It's who knows if you get anything because they're so good, but
Yeah.
I'll drink it all. So sorry.
Yeah.
William Allen, Two Shepherds, also
Yeah.
blogger, winemaker.
stuff.
Ed Thralls.
Yeah.
You know, Thralls Family Cellars, I think, is what he's doing now. And I mean, talk about following your dream. And these guys are guys moving out from Atlanta and from Georgia, and you know, moving up from Southern California, and just pursuing all of that. And there's so many more people doing it.
But all of these guys that he's named, I've seen over social media. Like Beau's been active with these guys for years, and as soon as he puts offers out, these
Yeah.
guys who followed the same dream, they order a few bottles, they order a case. from you.
It's surprising that they do, but they.
No, it's great.
I
Yeah,
think we all try to support each other in
Absolutely.
terms of our little, and also locally too. I mean, let's throw shout outs to people like
Let's do
Corey
it,
at
let's do it.
Jackalope,
Yeah.
you know, who has been hugely helpful to me. Tom and Kate at Division, and then owners of Southeast Wine
Awesome
Collective. I mean, amazing people.
Truly people.
Vincent, Byron, I mean, holy crap.
Yeah.
Seven of Hearts and Vincent Wine Company, people that inspire you and they give the support. The Kramers, like giving me space to work with and to screw up and not screw up, and their knowledge from, going back to 84, planting vines, that's been, it's
Cool
all
stuff,
about
yeah.
the community of wine and what we're all doing, man.
Here's the rinse for wine number 4. What is wine number 4?
Oh, so this one is a Syrah Viognier, 95 Syrah, 5% Viognier. I've loved the Côte Rôtie wines from the Northern Rhone in France forever, right? As well as like Rôtie Cellars in Washington, Sleight of Hand, Trey Bush's brilliant label from Washington, Gramercy. I mean, shout out to people that I drink and love their wines.
Yeah.
So the opportunity came up to get fruit from Destiny Ridge Vineyard, which is Alexander Nicole Cellars. That's their estate vineyard. This is Block 1 Phelps Clone Syrah. 5% Viognier, also from the estate. John Groschow, super awesome guy.
Which we might be having an interview with soon.
It's on the books, yeah.
That would be awesome. Now, John makes some great wines. I think,
Cool guy, too.
and he was the one that was like, I've got Syrah if you want it. And I said, I've never made Syrah. I don't know what the hell to do with it. He goes, well, don't worry about it. Just make it. So, it's his fault that I made this wine. And the opportunity to work with estate Viognier, estate Syrah, single block wine. I mean, you're getting like Owen Rowe, Canis Feast, Groschow, Alexander Nicole themselves, W.T. Vintners out of Washington. These are people working with block 1 fruit. And then my dumbass gets to work with block 1 fruit. And I just was like, okay, I'm just going to try to keep up and make something presentable. So this was a co-ferment, only 5% Viognier, so a little bit. Just layered on the top. I think we ended up doing about 25-30% whole cluster on this. I aged this longer in the neutral French barrels because when I tasted it before September bottling, I felt it needed more time to round off. And we talked about the rounding off effect earlier that oak can help with. And it's still neutral barrels, but it just needed more time. And so we bottled this April of this year, 2015. We bottled it, and I just started taking it out on the market, and it makes me smile every time I drink it.
Good deal. Yeah.
That's the thing. It really makes me smile. So yeah.
And me too. Like I think you've all
Very
heard,
dark.
you've all heard me
purple.
say it before. The best thing you can do with Viognier is blend it away.
Such hate.
I think you're getting hate from both sides.
But Viognier is easy to screw up, and I don't want to sound arrogant at all, but it's easy to overdo, I think. And so I think you've maybe had some crappy Viogniers, and that's really easy to accomplish. It gets permanent hair solution to it,
yeah, definitely.
and that chemically, and it's easy to have that happen, and that's not Viognier. If you drink Condrieu or really good Washington examples, they don't have that. So
now that we've agreed that Viognier should never be bottled on its own, let's continue talking about this wine.
point awarded for Dan on this one, but he's also wrong. That's okay though.
I've had good Viognier on its own.
We've had good Viognier.
Yeah.
We had a Two Shepherds. Remember we talked about
Totally, yes.
William Allen's project. We had a Two Shepherds. Even Dan liked it. He said it was
I
less
liked
than
it a couple,
offensive
but yeah,
to his
yeah,
palate.
yeah.
It was
We
good.
might have cornered him, and he was like, "Oh, look at that."
Was he drunk?
Possibly.
He might have been a little intoxicated, and so were we. But
it's kind of crazy how much the Viognier is coming out of the nose.
only
of this.
5% too.
But it's like
And it's
still very aromatic based on that, yeah.
And I think it adds that that addition to the Syrah. You get dark fruits and plum and blackberry,
Definitely.
black cap raspberry out
A
of
little
this.
bit of tobacco.
Yeah, cigar box, tobacco, cedarwood, and then you get white flowers, and it lifts it, the perfumed elements, and that's, I think they obviously figured something out, whatever, 1,000 years ago in the Northern Rhone,
Yeah.
and then here in America, we're like, yay, that's great, let's do it.
Stealing that.
But it works.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, nice acidity, nice structure, nice definition of flavor too.
A good bit of richness too. Like the nose is sort of like dark and sort of rich. It reminds you not so much of jam, but it's like something darker. Like you were talking about the cigar box, like a little
Definitely,
cedarwood. Yeah. It's like if you could smash blackberries and cherries into that.
I know a lot of our
That's
friends have
good.
kids right
That's
now,
good.
and we hear stories like that all the time, right? You've got a 3-year-old kid that decided to fill your cigar box full of raspberries.
That's a future
like, hey, Dad,
winemaker,
sure.
by the way.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
all
yeah.
the people that are friends with them and watching these with the kids, encourage that. Send them to chemistry school, make wine.
There we go.
But I think too, though, kind of touching on what you're saying, it was important to me when I'm trying to learn to make Syrah, to let Syrah be Syrah, and also more importantly to let Syrah express the vintage and the climate it's grown in, and that's Washington Syrah. I wasn't trying to do an analog of Côte Rôtie, because that's not going to happen. You can try, and I don't think you'll succeed. It's a special place, but also Washington, Eastern Washington, growing the right grapes, growing them the right way, which these guys do. Alexander and Nicole, like, they farm really beautifully. You let the site show through, and you let the fact that the reality of your situation is that state, that terroir, that vintage. And so, you touched on it in terms of like the density on the palate and that fruit richness. I think I'm completely proud of that, because I think this is what it should show that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like fake the funk on it at all.
Yeah.
And a little bit of the structure definitely comes through and breaks that up. On the back end, like the acidity, I think is in a really good spot. I think a lot of Syrah, that start out of this style can remain really heavy. And I'll even admit I don't always hate that when that happens, but I like that.
There's some great Syrahs made in that way.
Yeah, I like that. I like that the tannins in the acidity make a little bit of play late. They don't obliterate the flavors, and the fruit stays. And I might have to begrudgingly give a little bit of credit to Viognier here that the fruit doesn't get too heavy, right?
All right, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, only 5%. So in 2014, I did 2.5%.
Okay.
And the plan is this year to do 7%. So to create a bit of a Viognier test case.
Oh,
and eventually, some haters aside,
I was going to say, you're going to blend enough in to ruin your wine, but...
it'll be 95% Viognier, 5% Syrah. It'll be rosé.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the answer to my question, is the next wine I make will be a rosé of Viognier.
We'll see.
Just kidding, by the way. But, yeah, I mean, tastes like fruit, smells like fruit.
Yep.
It tastes like Syrah, it smells like Syrah. This is what I think Syrah should show from Washington, from a vintage like 13, a very even year. Not too cold, not too warm. Very beautiful fruit coming in on the crush pad. Easy to work with. You don't have to screw with it too much. It's there. It tastes good. It smells good. And you ferment it.
So what's this retail for? Somebody watches the show.
I believe this is about 30-ish. This is less than 30. I think the Cab Franc, I figured out like 25, 26-ish. So I don't really have a margin to work with. I just try to look at what this costs me and not make any money, just pay all the bills.
Yeah.
Which, if you've ever thought about getting into winemaking, there's a lot of those.
That's how she goes.
Labels, caps, corks, bottles, grapes, winemaking supplies, gas, fun things like that your CPA looks at you and tells you to shut up about. So.
But where I was going with this is I feel like this tastes right in line with like good examples of Washington Syrah I've had at this price point for sure.
Thank you.
I could easily recommend it to anybody, and I feel like there are a fair number of disappointments at this price point too.
Totally agree.
So check it out.
Glad to not be a disappointment at that price.
Yeah.
And one thing I like about it is that it's not like overly weighted with oak, or not overly like it's got a good richness, but that richness is backed up by good structure and good fruit. Whereas I think a lot of Washington at this point it's 50-50, whereas you are getting like something that's like it tastes like a cherry pie.
Well, I think they're playing to some consumer palates, not all. Sure. But I think they're playing some of it.
That might just be a generalization, and I'm sorry if I did that. But like,
no, it's all right.
I mean, I've only made 2 vintages of Syrah, but I think you're kind of onto something, because I think there is a trend in some ways, but I think, and this is a bit of a tiny rant, so forgive that, but I think wine in the U.S., we subject it to too many generalizations without realizing the incredibly stratified nature of the wine drinking population, whereas people in Oregon love big, rich, dark Pinots or lean, minerally, beautifully structured Pinots. Exactly. Washington Syrah is the same way.
I agree. Yeah.
I like a certain style of Syrah, and I hope that reflects in my wine. And there are other people that like big, dense, chocolatey, oaky, rich Syrahs, because that's what they expect out of Syrah, and that's cool. Good for them. I'll be honest, I don't think you'll like my wine. I don't think you'll like any of my wines, because I like acid a lot, and I like to have it in my wines. So, at the same time, though, there's room enough for everyone in this world.
This is a good Syrah.
Yeah.
Thank you. This was anguish. Like, I was anguishing over leaving this in barrel for 18 months. Because I love to do 10, 12 months.
It's such a long time to like wait on something, yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Chaz is not a man of patience. That's
No.
It's not even that. It's just more about your bank account. And the
Sure,
fact that you can't sell this for 18 months or more, 20 months. Because I gave it 60 days in bottle before I really started to try to take it out. But glibness aside, it's I think that when we make wine in Oregon, Washington, we're lucky to have people that make wine in all different styles, and we can do that. And I think my wines, I hope, they represent vintage, site, less so the winemaker's ego, more about just what I like to drink. And if you like to drink what I like to drink, I think you'll enjoy my wines. I think that's
cool philosophy.
Good. The cool anecdote about this too is we were warming up for the show. He brought a rack of bottles that he's had open for a week, just as an academic, comparison. And actually,
those aren't these bottles.
No, they're not these bottles. How long? These were open for 5 or 6 hours.
He's been at 4 or 5 hours, I think.
Sure, but the Cab Franc that was been open for a week, I don't recommend it. Drink your Cab Franc after you open it.
By the bottle, just drink it.
Yeah, but the Syrah that had been open for a week was even a little more evolved and was in a great spot. So take your time, decant it.
Yeah.
You got a lot of options. Hold on to it for a couple
if
years.
you do want to drink the Syrah or buy the Syrah, which would be great, by the way.
Yeah.
It will not only hold. Recently, I mean, this is, I think, a 15-year wine because of the acidity, the tannin, the structure. Will continue to integrate.
And there's good balance between all those pieces. Yeah.
I think I got lucky on that respect. The more the fruit gets credit for that. It was really balanced fruit, but I think the Cab Franc too. That week-old bottle we had was definitely showing stuff that I was a little bit disappointed in.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
It's all the way out.
It wasn't. I wasn't, losing my hair over it or anything.
A lot of week-old wine I take a sip of and dump down the drain.
It was just. It was a wine. I think if you're gonna buy it, drink it now, or just keep that cork in it and sit on it for several more years. Let the acid and tannins integrate in the wine. Let them do their thing, and I think you'll be rewarded. Something that's I believe so, and the same thing I think we talked about on the last show. We did Petit Verdot and Tempranillo.
Sure.
The Petit Verdot is incredible right now. I mean, I had a bottle recently, and you did too. That's right.
Continues to be received well, right? Just sold some recently, right?
I sold a couple of cases, a few cases left of that. Tempranillo is now in a place that I didn't think it would get to in terms of drinkability because I used that one new-ish barrel, like so it was a 3-year-old French oak barrel, which is new oak for me, and I was really not too pleased with that, but it was a matter of circumstance and all I had. But I think it's coming around, and I was very surprised the other day. I opened a bottle and said, "This doesn't suck." That's pretty high rating for me. So
it's true.
All right,
you're your worst critic, right? So
I think winemakers. Whether or not we publicize it, and sorry to all my winemaker friends if you're watching this, but I think we are our own worst critics, and especially when there's a group of winemakers sitting together, we're merciless. Yeah, totally. But we're trying to make the best juice for you. You all are spending your hard-earned money on our wines. It's kind of an honor to be able to sell wines to all the listeners, all the viewers, everybody out there, and so we should be putting out the best product we possibly can for you. So.
Good. There's that much focus on
There's that.
Yeah, working hard. So thanks for joining us. We're going to give a couple more thank yous out there to people who have been participating lately. I've been really slacking. It's been probably 2 months since I caught up on YouTube comments. Recently and do that. Yeah, it's terrible. So
Kerwin on Facebook.
Kerwin Carambo, recent comments. Thank you so much. I have not been good about responding them about them recently.
He's local.
He is.
Yeah, he's local.
Thank goodness. Bo knows
Good dude.
Yes, so I just wanted to
make a shout out personally.
Yeah, and then iCooper67. I'm not sure if that's Ian James Cooper that comments on our Facebook regularly. I'm assuming they're the same guy, but if it's not, thanks to you specifically. And then Andrew Bogani, who has been a fan for a really long time on YouTube, has been commenting again lately. Just got promoted to a wine salesperson at a retail gig.
Good job, dude.
Getting into the business, hopefully turning some people on to some sweet Oregon wine. Some delicious
Drink
Oregon
good wine, as he knows.
Yeah.
Watch your show.
There's sweet Oregon wine.
And then some Facebook likes recently. So Nanette Eaton has been liking some of our posts. Yeah,
posting all kinds of stuff.
Nanette.
Yeah. So,
I love you, girl.
Yeah. So
San Diego Wine Mafia for life, straight up. She's an OG San Diego Wine Mafia.
Big time, and been a wine blogger for many years.
Forever,
right?
Yeah.
Gina, we love you. Thanks for liking the videos. Fu Strauss, author of Weinzeit, always in on it.
See you in Germany soon.
There we go. Casey DeCastra and Angela Ellis, who has liked a couple things before. So I love it when people I don't know personally are participating in the blog.
Yeah,
so
man.
thanks, Angela, and I hope you enjoyed the shows.
Angela, see you on Twitter. See you
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
Instagrams and stuff. Nanette. Cool. Gina.
Mom.
Chaz and Mom.
All right. Question of the day.
Question of the day, Bo. What you got?
If there was a movie you had to watch in perpetuity forever, what would it be?
I love it.
Tell us. Let's talk about
I
this.
love it. That's really good.
Also, tell us.
I know a TV
Why?
show, but not a.
I'm telling you, this isn't a TV show. This is a movie. Perpetuity. We already did wine
I
on
feel
like
like
7,000 shows.
I feel like I can do better, but The Big Lebowski's definitely in the running, and so that'll be my answer for the
That's why
moment.
we're friends. That's a great call.
That's good. I like something a little more meaningful, but I'm not coming to it.
You can say like Chariots of Fire or something.
No, it was going to be in line with like the Big Lebowski.
You can't use that now.
I know, I can't.
You can. You totally can.
No.
We have to wrap it up though.
Yeah.
It's sad because I don't have a movie. I know TV shows. But
Well, okay, so let's let the allowance
It's Always Sunny in
be
Philadelphia. I would
Really?
watch It's Always Sunny in
Wow.
Philadelphia on rerun forever.
That's so dark.
right on.
That's
it.
dark. All right.
That's really dark.
Thanks for watching, folks. We look forward to your answers. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye.